quality alerts how the thick blanket of smoke is making it hard to breathe. Construction ahead, what road repair and other projects mean for motorists trying to navigate the city. And headed behind bars, how long a Saskatoon man will spend in prison for the violent killing of his roommate.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the smoky conditions. Wildfire smoke has triggered an air quality alert for most of the province. And as Jasper Pelche reports, it's forcing more people to flee their homes.
What began as a voluntary evacuation for residents in Isla Crosse soon became mandatory for those with health concerns. The community's deputy mayor, Vince Anicu, says roughly 200 people have left the village. And while the fire isn't an immediate threat, the smoke is.
We finally decided to get some people out, and the hospital sent out the long-term care patients and their patients at the hospital. And we did the same here in town. We got a bus coming in from SPSA.
The province now has 2,800 evacuees, with 8 communities under an evacuation order. Environment Canada forecasts widespread smoke to continue Wednesday in Saskatoon, where Isla Crosse already sent some residents hoping to escape the smoke up north.
We sent people to Saskatoon, and what happens? All the smoke goes to Saskatoon. Why did they send us here?
An air quality warning was issued for much of the province. The Air Quality Health Index has reached level 10 in several areas, considered very high risk. And Saskatoon residents are feeling the impact.
I'm kind of in a habit of going on the bike ride every morning, so I don't want to miss it. But it's bad.
Like, even waking up, my windows weren't even open, but you could, like, smell it in the house.
Some are masking up just to go outside.
It makes me feel like I have a cold all the time. Like, it's hard to breathe. I get a runny nose.
Environment Canada says that 2025 has been the third smokiest year on record for Saskatoon and second smokiest year on record for Prince Albert. There are 52 active wildfires burning across Saskatchewan. This year, there have been 378 in total, well above the 5-year average of 289. Jasper Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
Definitely a smoky day and a rainy day as well.
Exactly. Rainy and cold and smoky. That was kind of the situation across much of the province today. And when it comes to the rainy, well, the rain isn't getting where it needs to. We need it in northern parts of the province to deal with these wildfires, at least give the firefighters a chance to push this back a little bit, or sort of trying to get a handle on the situation. But right now, it looks like most of the active weather is moving just slightly north of Prince Albert. A lot more active weather down south. And we're going to talk about the rest of the rain in the forecast. Is there any? Later on.
As temperatures rise, so do the number of construction zones across the province. As Keenan Sorokon reports, some drivers are getting used to the construction delays, while others are growing tired of repeated slowdowns.
Construction season is alive and well in Saskatoon, with road, sewer, and water main work making these signs and barricades a common sight in recent weeks.
Downtown's been pretty bad to get around, but everywhere in the city, really.
Broadway has been a focus of the city this year, with the bridge closing in May for 6 months, and new construction now closing Broadway between 3rd and 5th Street as crews work on water main preservation for the next month. That's one of 11 significant projects the city has plans to complete this year.
Trying to get to a place downtown the one day there, and the sidewalk was closed even. Like, I couldn't even park somewhere and walk. Like, yeah, it was... It's not the best.
Jawad Azimi is a cab driver in Saskatoon who says construction downtown on 23rd Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues has caused traffic delays, with the city having to relocate the downtown bus mall because of the closures. But no matter how bad construction gets, he reminds himself it's just for a few months every year.
They have to do what they have to do, you know. They have to maintain the city. They have to make sure that everything is all right. So for myself, I'm happy with their service, even if it's sometimes a little bit hard.
The downtown project is expected to last until the end of the month, as other projects like adding bus rapid transit terminals and park improvements close secondary streets.
Winter and construction season, you know, they can't do it during the winter, so, you know, they have to get twice as much done in the summer.
We're expected to learn more about the city's progress during a midsummer construction update next week. Keenan Sorakhan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A Saskatoon man has been handed a 13-year sentence for killing his roommate with a hammer. The judge ruling while the man was high on magic mushrooms, he is still morally responsible for the killing. CTV's Stacey Hine has the details from Saskatoon's Court of King's Bench.
A Saskatoon judge says Nader Butter was aware of his behavior and actions in the hours leading up to killing his roommate, Stephen Pohl. The 35-year-old was found dead inside their home on Idlewild Drive North in January 2023. According to an agreed statement of facts, Butter beat Pohl with a hammer following a night of heavy drinking and magic mushrooms. At a sentencing hearing last month, the Crown asked for an 11-year sentence, factoring in credit for time served, while the defense asked for 1 day in jail and 3 years of probation. The defense arguing the case hinges on moral responsibility, saying if Butter didn't take the magic mushrooms, quote, this wouldn't have happened. Justice Natasha Crooks now delivering her sentencing decision, ruling Butter was morally responsible for the killing. She pointed to several instances where Butter showed he was aware of his behavior and actions. Crooks says in this case, intoxication does not diminish moral responsibility. She cited several aggravating factors, including the fact that Pohl was killed in his own home and hit with a hammer several times. She also noted Butter is considered a very high risk to reoffend and has a history of making poor choices when drinking alcohol. Crooks handed him a 13-year sentence. With credit for time served, Butter has just over 9 years remaining. As court proceedings wrapped up, Justice Crooks told Butter to utilize resources while in custody to address his alcoholism, saying if he doesn't, she has no doubt he'll be back in court. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
More concerns are being raised over the removal of Rhonda Blackmore as commanding officer of the Saskatchewan RCMP. We've been hearing from community leaders and politicians who are calling for answers. Now, former and current members of the RCMP are expressing their frustration. Angela Stewart explains.
A decorated veteran with the RCMP. Many say Rhonda Blackmore has displayed integrity and leadership throughout her 30-year career, including her time as commanding officer of F Division. But her sudden removal from the position last month has several people searching for answers, including retired Mountie Ginny Perreault.
She was kind of for some of us anyways, I can't speak for everyone, but our beacon of hope for change, and now that just disappeared very quickly, and we still don't know why.
Blackmore assumed the position of commanding officer in April of 2021, but on June 3rd, she was dismissed from her position due to what she claims are anonymous complaints made against her. Those complaints have not been made public. Former and current members of the RCMP believe the lack of transparency surrounding her dismissal is both frustrating and concerning.
That reason of why she's gone, we don't clearly know. This is a first for me, this type of removal. It's certainly the first time I'm this aware of it, and that I have kept thinking about it and not wanting it to be lost in the news.
Perreault, not the only one expressing their frustration. Current members wishing to remain anonymous reached out to CTV News in support of Blackmore. One saying she was the only dedicated member at her rank doing the job for the right reasons, not to increase her pension, but to improve the RCMP and support members as members used to be supported, adding, "We really hope Rhonda will fight this." Another writing, "What Rhonda is going through makes me incredibly scared to speak and to continue serving as an RCMP member. She's honest and trustworthy, and she's proved over and over again she is willing to stand up for police officers and has our backs every step of the way." The provincial government also expressing unease over Blackmore's removal.
took us by surprise, and we've said quite publicly that we're disappointed in that decision and looking for answers. We're incredibly pleased with the work that she was doing as a partner for the government and other police agencies across the province.
CTV News reached out to the Federal Minister of Public Safety for comment, but did not hear back before deadline. We also reached out to Rhonda Blackmore, who was unable to provide us with an interview, but did say she is grateful for all the support she's receiving during this time. Blackmore has since been named Assistant Commissioner of Indigenous and Support Services for the RCMP. Assistant Commissioner Robin McNeil is serving as Interim Commanding Officer for F Division until a selection process is completed. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan RCMP is now working with Prince Albert Police to help find a missing 62-year-old man. Dilbert Thomas has not been heard from since March 31st. His family says it's not typical for him not to be in contact with his family. RCMP and an investigator with the Prince Albert Police Service conducted a search for Thomas today. Police have obtained video surveillance showing Thomas on March 31st at about 1:30 a.m. at the intersection of Elevator Road and Phelps Drive, which is in RCMP jurisdiction. Anyone with information on where Dilbert Thomas could be is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. RCMP have discovered human remains north of Saskatoon in a rural area west of the town of Victor. Police have identified the remains as 40-year-old Michelle Henneque from the Atakakoop Cree Nation. The Henneque had been reported missing since June 12th. RCMP say her death is suspicious and are urging anyone with information about the death to contact police or submit a tip to Crime Stoppers. Summer staffing shortages are forcing some rural hospitals to restrict emergency room hours. Maple Creek, Watrous, and Kipling are among hospitals recently affected. Today, the NDP visited a number of towns to gauge the impact on health care. Wayne Mantika reports.
Kipling residents thought their local emergency room could resume around-the-clock operation with the arrival of 3 new doctors.
Just met my new doctor. Hope they stay. I don't know. I like the one that did leave, and she moved to BC, I think. But if they stay, I'll be happy.
The doctor shortage may have been solved, but now the hospital is down to just 1 X-ray lab tech. It means the ER remains closed at night and on weekends.
We've got 4, or had 4, who are both lab and X-ray techs. One is on mat leave. One has relocated to another community with her family.
The situation is concerning to an investment group that built a large rental complex across the street from the hospital.
And the people in this area would like to stay in Kipling in their senior years, and that's what our building is for. But it very much depends on the hospital being open and functioning.
Changes to emergency room hours are publicized on the SHA website, but the NDP opposition believes the government must do a better job of informing the public.
The public has a right to know, and the fact that these notices aren't being broadcast by the government publicly is very disturbing to me.
The SHA continues to recruit, and the town is doing its part to help. The local hospital foundation owns 3 houses for doctors and is adding an apartment for out-of-town lab techs interested in picking up a few shifts. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Kipling.
Experts will be watching over the next several months to see how the water levels on the South Saskatchewan River fare, with Saskatoon's riverboat already seeing a canceled sailing season because of the low levels. The next winter season could be crucial to water activity next spring. John Flatters reports.
For Captain Mike Steckhand, who's on the South Saskatchewan River every day, the water levels are low and getting worse.
See, that's the deceptive part. The water has been low for 5 years now. The last time there was a flush of this valley, which is a normal recurring event, was 2020. So the problem is actually not low water, it's high sand.
He says current flow rates are between 60 and 70 cubic meters per second, too low to wash the sediment downstream. That's forced the Prairie Lily to be docked this summer as all main channels have been clogged.
You can still paddle around a little bit with unpowered vessels. Anybody with a powered vessel unless you really know what you're doing, I would not recommend you come in here because you just damage your boat or hurt yourself.
The Water Security Agency says a snow drought in the mountains and below normal inflows in 2025 have led it to be conservative with water management at Lake Diefenbaker to meet the needs of all users, limiting flow to the 60 to 70 cubic meters per second range. It says releasing more than 10 times that, as some have suggested, would be the equivalent of about 8 years' worth of water usage for the entire city of Saskatoon. An environmental scientist with the University of Saskatchewan says the winter snowpack can have a significant impact on how things flow in the North and South Saskatchewan rivers.
If the snowpack's low there, it sort of loses that ability to flush the river out early when we have a lot of water, when all the snow is melting around all the prairies.
LaRock says next year's water levels will depend on winter snowpack and how much rain we get before spring.
If the water levels and the snowpack next year are high, maybe they'll flush it out again and then they'll clean it up a bit. And if it's lower than it was even last year, then they'll probably try to save the water again, and this could be what happens next year.
John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The province says more than 3,000 people have been checked by pharmacists for strep throat or ear infections since the program was introduced in January. As of July 13th, 745 people have been checked at a pharmacy for strep throat and 2,390 for ear infections. 11 pharmacies across the province are participating in testing and assessing for both conditions, with another 35 offering ear infection assessments only. The province is considering expanding the program in hopes of easing healthcare pressures and providing better care for patients. For the second time in 3 years, a Saskatchewan woman didn't spare anyone at the Canadian Masters 5-pin bowling championships, taking home the national title. Damien Smith has more.
Josie Brooks, a Regina bowler, is returning home with her second Masters win in 3 years. On June 27th, she won the 5-pin Canadian Masters ladies singles tournament in Surrey, British Columbia. 2023 was her first Masters win in St. John's, Newfoundland, where it was down to the wire. This time around, she won by 17 in the final game.
I was more prepared for this one as well. Leading up, I put a lot of work into the mental side of it and like the mental physical prep, whereas before, of course, I put work in, but I kind of knew the exact kind of work that I needed to put into this one opposed to the last time.
Now, June 27th was also an emotional day for Josie, as that was her grandma's birthday, who was also a bowler herself, but she unfortunately passed away 6 years ago. Her grandma isn't the only bowler in her family. Brooks comes from a long line of bowlers, including her dad, Bill, who has been there every step of the way.
I actually, with her success, and just to know that she's so confident within herself, I don't have to worry about necessarily how she's feeling on the lanes. I know she's fine. So the less I have to worry about her, it kind of makes it a lot easier for me.
Training since she was 5 years old, Josie has learned how to balance the mental side of the game, something that has become more important since she started competing professionally in 2019.
But as soon as you let go of that ball, the crowd erupts, and it's such a wonderful feeling to know that there's support behind you and you're not really just doing it by yourself.
A feeling she is giving to the next generation of bowlers is teaching the younger generation to perhaps be the next great champion from Regina. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
The RCMP Training Academy in Regina had a couple of new commanding officers today. 2 10-year-old girls were in charge of Depot Division today. Janine and Tessa were all decked out in their new red serge uniforms. The program is part of the Kids with Cancer Society. Both girls have battled cancer. The two were treated to the ultimate RCMP experience, including a flight to Regina on the RCMP airplane. They ate breakfast with the cadets in the mess hall, flew a police drone, and were fitted with a custom-made uniform they get to keep. Still to come, the music world mourning the loss of a legend, and what came out of the Prime Minister's meeting with provincial and territorial leaders. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Premiers meeting in Ontario's cottage country today said they had a good discussion with the Prime Minister and learned more about the ongoing negotiations with the United States. But there are two sides to any deal, and Mark Carney made it clear provinces and territories need to do what they can at home. Rachel Aiello has the details.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was in good spirits as he arrived on scene for today's talks, but quickly he got down to business.
We are looking for the best deal for Canada. We're only going to accept the best deal for Canada.
Premiers came in saying they wanted clarity on whether the two countries are on track towards a new trade pact by U.S. President Donald Trump's August 1st deadline, and came out indicating they care less about when a deal is reached, rather what is in it.
It sounds like we're making some progress, making sure that we get the best deal and not just the deal available.
I would be worried that if we constrain ourselves that we have to get a deal by a certain date, that we maybe have to, maybe do some things or give up some things.
Carney met behind closed doors with provincial and territorial leaders for more than 2 hours, telling them that he and senior federal officials are engaged in continuous discussions with the Americans. But the Prime Minister offered no assurance that a good deal for Canada will be reached in the next 10 days, or whether the country is ready to retaliate with counter tariffs.
We'll take stock if there isn't one that works. A good deal is something that preserves, reinforces, and stabilizes those relationships as much as possible. A good deal is also one that doesn't tie our hands.
Premiers then took part in a strategy session with former ambassadors to the U.S. about next steps.
There's one thing we can thank President Trump for, is getting us moving, getting us united like I've never seen before.
The Prime Minister and Premiers also discussed ways to build new trade relationships with trusted partners other than the U.S., as well as ways to support affected industries should tariffs linger. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Huntsville, Ontario.
Donald Trump has been calling Canadians mean and nasty for boycotting U.S. products. Now his ambassador, Pete Hoekstra, says Canada's approach doesn't contribute to a positive relationship between the two countries. Abigail Beeman on the audio from a summit speech.
As well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
Speaking at the Pacific Northwest Economic Region Summit Monday, U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra offered these examples.
Canadians staying home, that's their business. I don't like it, but if that's what they want to do, it's fine. If you want to ban American alcohol, that's fine. It doesn't necessarily send real positive signals in terms of they're treating us well.
Then offered a line that got a laugh about his own cross-border business.
I can get alcohol across the border if I wanted to, because we go back and forth to Michigan and they don't check my car when I come back. Okay?
If you're a mean and nasty Canadian for standing up for our sovereignty and our economy and our jobs, well, I think most Canadians would be proud to be considered mean and nasty.
The audio was received by and released from BC's Premier's office. David Eby is calling on Canadians to keep it up, keep buying Canadian and vacationing in Canada.
I think it's interesting that Americans have a hard time understanding why Canadians are so angry at their president's suggestion that our sovereignty is at risk.
I'm pretty shocked. I find it very ironic. President Trump is calling us mean.
One former Canadian ambassador to the U.S. says the pot is calling the kettle black.
Leave the ambassador out of it. The president says this over and over again. He's constantly calling us nasty and terrible negotiators and everything else. The United States is one of the most protectionist companies in the world.
Frank McKenna stressed the overall positivity and optimism from Ambassador Hoekstra. So too did the U.S. Embassy, telling CTV News in a statement the ambassador spoke for nearly an hour and emphasized his optimism about the future of the Canada-U.S. relationship. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Police in New York State say the 9-year-old girl from Montreal, whose body was discovered over the weekend, died from asphyxia due to drowning. The news coming after police released the autopsy results for Melina Fratolin. Melina's father, Luciano, is facing charges of second-degree murder and concealment of a human corpse in connection with her death. Police say Melina's body was found Sunday about 50 kilometers northeast of Lake George near the New York-Vermont boundary. The town of Jasper came together today to mark 1 year since 25,000 people were forced to flee the smoke and flames of a rampaging wildfire.
Recovery is ongoing. There is still much work to do, yet Jasper is here.
Jasper's beauty and spirit have always inspired, and they will continue to do so.
Within days of the evacuation, several wildfires converged to incinerate about a third of the Rocky Mountain town and take the life of a firefighter. In recent days, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has condemned an independent report commissioned by the town that criticizes the provincial response to the wildfires. The mayor of Jasper says he stands by the report, insisting it wasn't meant to become a, quote, political instrument. The music world is reeling at news of the death of Ozzy Osbourne, who rose to fame in the 1970s as the frontman for Black Sabbath. His famous family asking for privacy after confirming their patriarch was gone. Just 3 weeks ago, he played in Black Sabbath's farewell gig in his hometown of Birmingham, England. CTV's Heather Wright takes us back over the life of the extraordinary performer.
The godfather of heavy metal, the Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne was a showman, a singer, and later a reality TV star who rose to fame in the 1970s as the frontman of Black Sabbath. Known for his iconic wail, Osbourne was an icon of the heavy metal genre he helped pioneer. Today, the Osbourne family said in a statement, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love." Born John Michael Osbourne in Birmingham, England, Osbourne recorded more than half a dozen albums with Black Sabbath, including hits like Paranoid and War Pigs. But by 1979, his struggles with substance abuse were so severe, he was fired by the band. Mama, I'm coming home. Osbourne went on to have a successful solo career and was later inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, with both Black Sabbath and as a solo artist. Both beloved and controversial, Osbourne once bit off the head of a bat while on stage and was arrested for trying to strangle his wife while drunk. He later reconciled with his wife Sharon and became a reality TV dad to a whole new generation in the show The Osbournes, along with 2 of his 5 children, Jack and Kelly. In 2020, Osbourne announced he had Parkinson's disease and, despite his health challenges, tried many times to return to the stage. Just weeks ago, he performed from a black throne on stage with Black Sabbath in his hometown of Birmingham. It was his first show in 20 years with the original band members, and it would be the last of his legendary life. Heather Wright, CTV News.
We're down at the riverbank celebrating Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan's 40th season and our performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream 1985. Get your tickets at Sask.com. Yeah. What's the weather going to be like, Jeff? This is That's Jeff Rogstad. He's like from a long time ago.
A long time ago. Well, they're not wrong. Anyhow, what we can tell you that, of course, it's a busy week for Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan. They have a show tonight of A Midsummer Night's Dream, but then it's a preview, and then the opening night for Richard II, the tragedy of Richard II on Thursday. But the next performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream is coming up on Friday, so let's take a look there. 27 degrees, mainly sunny skies. We're not sure what the air quality is going to be like. We hope it's good because actors do not like the smoke. Nor do the rest of us, quite frankly. About Friday, 7:30 is when that performance takes place, and if you want to get your tickets, and get them early because the back end of the season always sells out. So get your tickets early. Shakespearesask.com is the website to go to. All right, let's take a look and see what we have. 13 degrees right now, a hint of rain right now in the Bridge City. I'll check the weather door. 17 in Prince Albert and 17 in the Battlefords. And right now, winds are relatively light, so we'll keep an eye on that. Quick look at the almanac for Saskatoon. Our daytime high today, a chilly 14 degrees. 25 is typical for this time of July. 37, the record warm temperature on the 22nd of July. That was set in 1988. The record cold 4 degrees in 1905. The sun came up at 5:13. It's going to go down at 9:12.
Coming up, bringing a Saskatchewan First Nation together through gardening, how all ages are bonding over a new community garden.
All right, welcome back. Well, there's the smoke that I was talking about earlier on. The AQ index is not good right now in Saskatoon, and that's true of many, many parts of the province. All right, well, that's where we are right now. Let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot. Most of the active weather not really getting much further north than Prince Albert and area. The light rain in Saskatoon right now, but this system continues to track across the southern land, the Southland, particularly where that's where the most active weather is. We're going to keep our eye on that. That's where the possibility of thunderstorms exist. We've got 13 degrees in Saskatoon, 17 in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. On to our hot and cold spot. Hot spot, Weyburn at 21. The cold spot, a cold 0. It was, I believe it was 0.3 on the plus side, but 0.3 degrees in Loon Lake. So cold conditions there. Temperatures in the larger communities, 18 in Lloydminster and Yorkton, 13 in Swift Current, 17 in Moose Jaw, 20 in Regina, and 19 in Estevan. Closer look at central parts of the province. Temperatures range from a cold 9 degrees right now, dealing with some rain in the Rosetown area. The warmest it gets is 18 degrees, and that's in Hudson Bay and Nipwood. Oh, I take that back. 19 in Meadow Lake. It's 13 in Watrous, 14 in Wynyard. Up north, cool conditions there as well. 12 degrees in Collins Bay. It warms up to 18 in Buffalo Narrows, 16 degrees in La Ronge and Sandy Bay Island Falls. And down south, no breakout temperatures here. 20 degrees right now in Weyburn. It cools off to 11 in Leader. It's 19 in Coronach and Carlisle, 18 in Broadview and Melville. And yes, we've got ourselves cool temperatures pretty much right across the province. So here's our computer modeling as we head into Wednesday. And as you can see, not a lot of active weather. That system that's impacting Saskatchewan right now tends to wring itself out and moves through Manitoba. And in behind it, a high pressure area building in. So we don't expect a lot of active weather. And that's what we've got. It's scattered showers at the most. So around the province we go. Temperatures in the low 20s for the northern part of our province. Mix of sky conditions. Mainly cloudy skies prevail in west central Saskatchewan. High teens, low 20s. A similar temperature pattern for the southwest under cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. The temperatures are pretty consistent right across the province, folks. Cloudy or mainly cloudy skies in the southeast with temperatures hovering around 21 degrees. And that's certainly true of east central Saskatchewan, warming up to 23 in Hudson Bay. For the Battlefords, dropping down to 8 degrees tonight. It's going to be a smoky situation overnight into tomorrow. 21 for a high, warming up to temperatures around 25 on Thursday and Friday, cooling off a bit for the weekend. For Prince Albert and area, an overnight temperature of 5 degrees, but the air quality index is going to be on the very high side. There's a chance of some showers. We're expecting some smoke again tomorrow. The air quality index improves a little bit, but just a little bit. 24 degrees on Thursday, 26 on Friday, Saturday 24, 22 on Sunday, and starting off the work week at 23 degrees. And Saskatoon, a slight chance of showers tonight. We're sort of tapering off from what we've got right now. Air quality index of 9, that's on the high part of the scale. The air quality gets worse tomorrow, 22 degrees for a high. And then as we take a look at Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, mainly sunny conditions, but the air quality will still be an issue. 27 on Thursday and Friday, 24 on Saturday, Sunday, 23 with a chance of showers, and starting the work week with a high of 23. Yes, indeed. Bryan Adams is asking for a little more understanding on his latest single. He's released the first track from his upcoming album, Roll With The Punches. The song is called A Little More Understanding and urges listeners to find common ground.
Wait, you're telling me I have a budget guardian angel?
Kinda. I want to guide people. I want to change their lives.
The Toronto International Film Festival continues to unveil its star-studded lineup. Aziz Ansari's Good Fortune, starring Keanu Reeves, will be making its world premiere at TIFF. Dozens of other premieres were also announced today for the 50th anniversary of the festival. Information can be found online, and TIFF runs from September 4th to 14th. It seems Kelly Clarkson has passed down her vocal chops. Clarkson and her daughter River Rose sang on stage together during her Vegas residency show. They performed Heartbeat Song. Rose is 11 years old and says this is her favorite song from her mother's music catalog. And now this isn't Rose's first time on stage with her mom. They sang this same song 2 years ago. Clarkson will be back on stage at the Coliseum on Friday. Caesar's Palace, the family resort.
All right, time for Pick of the Day. We've got a bonus pick today.
We do. We get a lot of pictures, and we thank the viewers for sending them in. But we've got a lot. We're going to try and get to as many as possible. But this one comes to us from Beverly in the Prince Albert area. Went to the Vintage Power Machines Festival about 10 kilometers southwest of Prince Albert on the weekend. I think it's the site of the Donnybrook School. She also sent a picture of that. There were lots of vintage machines and displays to check out. Well worth attending. Yes, I can understand why you're saying that, Beverly. So thank you for that. Also from PA, like Harriswick, he's there. Of course, we talked to him with regard to the ambulance service up there and all the health instructions we get. Hi, Jeff. Here's a picture taken yesterday, Monday at 5:30 in the afternoon in Prince Albert with the smoke so thick you could hardly breathe. When you add the black flies, it made going out for a walk with the dog next to impossible. So thank you, Lyle, not just for this picture, but for all the help you give us. And Carol Bergman, 3-month-old Coco enjoying her first carrot of the garden. I'm not sure if Coco's really that enthused about that carrot. But Coco's a good-looking dog. And finally, from Kim Clark, check this out. That's right, it's a real beaver dam. This was taken near Shell Lake. Even beavers need to watch CTV News. Well, we couldn't agree more, Kim. And so thank you for sharing those images. And if you'd like to send us an image, you can send it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. And please put Pick of the Day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, rider star Trevor Harris received some high praise. But up next, how a Saskatchewan First Nation is going and growing local.
Greetings, everyone. Pasqua First Nation has been hard at work, planting, watering, and tending to a garden which will one day feed its members. As harvest approaches, there are already plans to expand, growing a variety of fruits and vegetables. CTV's Brittany Poitras tells us more about the nutrients in the soil.
Pasqua First Nation has unveiled their new community garden. Lands manager Candace Carter says the garden will benefit band members inside and out.
When we go to the grocery store, we're not sure where our food comes from, to be honest, right? We just buy it and cook it and we eat it. But here we actually know we started right from a little tiny seed right to a vegetable, and that's the best for us.
Where the garden now stands, once a clear field owned by Delbert Pasqua, whose last wish was to have the land shared.
He summoned us to his house and gave me instruction to take care of the land as best I could.
The soil and seeds planted in this garden represent more than just food. To Councillor Roman Pasqua, it represents the community's values.
I think it has to go in connection with our food sovereignty and feeding our nation members, and not just our members on reserve, but also off reserve.
In the spring, after fundraising and planning, the garden took shape. This garden isn't just about sustainability. It's also about affordability, health, and helping the community.
The cost of buying food has gone up, that I believe that our community needs healthy food, and if we create our own garden, I know that the community can afford to come out and pick their own food for free.
This is year one of a 5-year project with plans for the garden to grow and be home to many types of plants, including medicinal for all band members to access.
So even our community could come out here, and if they want to use some herbs, they can come pick.
Community members are set to receive their free produce for the first time this fall. Brittany Poitras for Indigenous Circle.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
When we come back, a rider star is recognized for his recent play. Then, are days actually getting shorter?
All right, welcome back. And we're taking a look at our forecast for tomorrow. And I need to emphasize once again that even though the icons look, well, hey, it's not going to be smoky, the icons are dealing with the atmospheric situation. And that doesn't include the AQ or the air quality or the smoke that we're dealing with. So right now, yes, we have mainly sunny skies for Melfort and Meadow Lake, but there may be obscured skies because of the smoke. So keeping that in mind, 22 for Meadow Lake, 21 for Spiritwood, 19 for Lloydminster, 21 for Watrous, 21 for Melfort. And as we take a look at Hudson Bay, expecting a daytime high of 23, 19 for Outlook. Making our way down south, well, it looks like the stormy weather has cleared out of the southwest and south central, but Carlisle looks like it's still got some nasty storms to deal with tomorrow. 20 degrees there, 22 in Kenora, 20 in Leader, and 19 in East End and a few other places. So let's take a look at Kerrobert, a closer look at that community. We've got ourselves partly cloudy skies, 18 degrees in tomorrow, not as windy as it might have been today. Winds out of the southwest 10, but it will still probably be on the smoky side. So keep that in mind, and Kerrobert is one of those places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Since missing one game with a slight concussion, Riders quarterback Trevor Harris has been slinging the ball around the field, throwing for 820 yards in 2 games. In fact, his last game caught the attention of a football analytics group. Jacob Carr has the details.
First and 10 from the 30. Harris pump fake. Now a shot down the sideline. Touchdown Riders!
Trevor Harris was slinging the pigskin all over the field in Week 7's win against BC. He accounted for 395 yards through the air to go with 3 passing touchdowns, earning him Pro Football Focus's top quarterback grade of the week. But the Riders QB is trying not to read his own press clippings.
You've heard Nick Saban say it before, it's rat poison, right? And that's good, or whether it's good or bad, you start patting yourself on the back or beating yourself up. Neither one of them are true. Every week's a new week, and that's why Coach Mace talks all the time about going 1-0.
A big part of the impressive aerial assault against the Lions was Keyshawn Johnson, who had 77 yards on 6 catches. Johnson says the receivers don't pay much attention to individual accolades, but that it's still nice to see their quarterback recognized.
You know, it feels good. You know, I mean, that means that we're doing our job and we're doing it at a high level, and that's, you know, I mean, something that we pride ourselves on, and you know, we try to execute each play each week.
Harris says the opposing defense will always dictate who the ball goes to, so Johnson and Dante Myers were the recipients of most of the targets against BC, accounting for 15 of Harris's 30 attempts.
Sometimes when you watch Keyshawn, you know, make the first, second guy miss every time and get upfield for those sneaky 5-6 yards afterwards, and and Dante he's just one of those guys where he's got a lot of juice and explosiveness, and so we're lucky to have him, and we're going to try and keep putting them in positions.
The green and white will look to put on another aerial show this Friday against the visiting Edmonton Elks, but know that a duplicate performance won't be handed to them.
I got a lot of good guys. The record, you know, I mean, doesn't show how good they are. You know, I mean, that's something that we emphasize. Don't go out there, don't take a team lightly for what their record is. They're a good team. They have got a lot of good players over there. So, you know, we got to go out and, you know, start fast, finish fast.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Coming up, if today feels a little bit shorter, there's a reason why. And robots getting even smarter. Well, if today feels short, it's because it is, kind of, sort of. Today, it could be anywhere from 1.25 to 1.34 million milliseconds shorter than 24 hours.
I'm tired.
July 10th was the shortest day of the year so far at 1.36 milliseconds less than 24 hours. It's because the Earth is apparently spinning a little faster than usual, and it happens from time to time. When these short days start adding up, they can affect computers, satellites, and telecommunications. Scientists say every time this happens, it raises the possibility of a negative leap second. That means taking a second off the world's official time standard. The next short day is expected to happen August 5th. Maybe we'll time it then.
I hope you were taking notes at home.
Right?
I'm dizzy.
Yeah. We'll see. All right. Chinese firm UB Tech has now unveiled the first humanoid robot that changes its own batteries when its batteries are low.
Why did you look at me?
Because Flocker S2 walks over to a charging dock, removes the empty battery from its chest, places it on the charging dock, and inserts a new one. Previously, the robots had limited function, typically only operating 4 hours at a time. The independent battery swapping now extends operation time, helps avoid delays, and eliminates the need for human assistance. I just thought you'd be interested in this story. That's all.
I hope that's all that meant.
That's all it
That
meant.
furtive look.
It was just an innocent look, a glance.
Well, this is just one more step on the road to being dominated by machines. There we go. All hail our robot masters.
Well, there's only one you, Jeff, so no robot can replace you.
Thank you so much.
Right now.
Anyhow, let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick look at this. 13, 17, 20. Yes, and the air quality index is going to improve ever so slightly tomorrow afternoon, but likely get worse as the evening goes along.
Can you change your own battery?
Maybe.
Thanks for watching.